Hi everyone, I'm Anita and now we are going to present to you about principles of language assessment. And there are 5 principles and it will be explained by my friends that will introduce themselves later. So okay, let's jump to the first principle.
Hello guys, my name is Muhammad Farhan Nadianto and I will explain about practicality, the first principle about assessment. It means that the test should be not excessively expensive. It means that it doesn't take a lot of money to hold the test. It refers to the economy of time and money in testing. Second is the test should be staged in appropriate times. It means that the time should be efficient to do the test. And the third is the test should be easy to administer. It is easy to place the test takers before and after the test. The fourth is the test should have a scoring or evaluation procedure that is specific and time efficient. It means that the test should be easy to evaluate and doesn't take a long time. Thank you. The next presentation will be delivered by my friend.
Okay, I'm Rosa and I will continue my friend's explanation. And here I would like to explain about validity. Validity is to measure what is to be measured. If assessment intends to measure achievement and ability in a particular subject area, but then measures concepts that are completely unrelated, so the assessment is not valid. Here there are 5 types of validity evidence, but here I would like to explain the first and the second because the last will be explained by my friends. The first is about content-related evidence. Content-related evidence, observationally, if you can clearly define the achievement that you are measuring. I have some cases to develop our understanding in content-related evidence. The first is, if you are trying to assess students' tennis competency, but you ask students to swim in 200 meters, so it's not achieved the content-related evidence. So the second case, if you are trying to assess students' ability in speaking second language, especially in conversational setting, then you ask students to do multiple choice question that is involve grammatical judgment, so it does not achieve content-related evidence. But if you ask students to do conversation with their partner orally, then it is complete content-related evidence. And the second is about criterion-related evidence. Criterion-related evidence extend to which the criterion of the test that you are measured has been reached. A classroom test designed to assess mastery of a grammatical point in communicative use will have criterion validity if test scores are corroborated either by observed subsequent behavior or by other communication measure of the grammar point in question. So that's all from me, and the next explanation will be explained by my friend.
My name is Sarah. I will explain the rest of validity. The first is the construct of related evidence. The third kind of validity is construct related evidence. A construct is a theory, hypothesis, or model that attempts to explain, observe the phenomenon in our universe of perception. A construct may or may be not directly measured. So, construct validity is a measure of issue of a large-scale standardized test of proficiency. Okay, next is test validity. Test validity refers to the degree to which a test looks right and appears to measure the knowledge or abilities it claims to measure based on the subjective judgment of the examined who takes the test. There are some characteristics of test validity. First, a well-constructed. It means that the test is packaged format with familiar tasks, and then a test that is clearly done with the allotted time limit. And the next is items that are clear and uncomplicated. And the next is direction and item must be clear. And the last is a difficulty level that present a reasonable challenge. The last one is consequential validity. Consequential validity composes all the consequences of a test, including the impact of preparation of the test taker and the effect on the learner itself. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Isla Grace and I'm here to explain the reliability. Okay, so a reliability test is consistent and dependable if you give the same test to the same students or match students on two different occasions. The test should yield similar results. So, reliable assessment will yield consistent results regardless of when it is marked or whom it is marked by. And then the first one is student-related reliability. It is caused by temporary illness, fatigue, or a bad day, anxiety, and other physical or psychological factors. The test depends on how the students itself. It is come from the students' internal issues because when they are sick, fatigue, or have a bad day will directly affect their performance on during the test. Meanwhile, the second, rather variability, human error, subjectivity, and bias may enter into scoring process. So in here, it is external consistency of a test. This refers to the degree to which different raters give consistent estimates of the same behavior. So, at least, the test should be marked by different raters to reduce human error, subjectivity, and bias. Thank you very much. The next will be explained by my friend.
Yo.
Hello, I'm Vida and will continue about the reliability. The third one is about test administration reliability. Unreliability may also result from the conditions in which the test is administered. I am witness to administration of a test of oral comprehensions, but because of street noise outside the building, students sitting next to windows could not hear the tape accurately. This was a clear case of unreliability caused by the condition of the test administration. And the fourth one is about test reliability. Test reliability. Sometimes the nature of the test itself can cause measurement errors. If a test is too long, test takers may also become fatigued by the time they reach the later items and hastily respond incorrectly. Time tests may discriminate against students who do not perform well on a test with a time limit. Poorly written test items may be a further source of test unreliability. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Najwa and now I will proceed to the next point of this presentation, which is authenticity. So authenticity is the fourth major principle in language testing. So according to Beckman and Palmer 1996, authenticity can refers to the degree of correspondence of a language test and also to the features of a language task. So essentially, when you claim a test is authentic, you are basically saying that a test is much likely to be enacted in a real-life situation. And there are many ways we can present authenticity values in a language test. There are 5 ways here that I will explain. The first one is that the language used in the test have to be as natural as possible, and then the items have to be contextualized rather than it is isolated. And then the third one, the topic is meaningful. It has to be relevant. It has to be interesting to the learner. And then the fourth one, it has to include some thematic organization into the item, such as the storyline or episode. And then the fifth one, which is also the last one, the task represent a closely approximate real-life situation task. That is all from me. Thank you.
Well, my name is Anita and I will explain to you about WASPEC. What is WASPEC? WASPEC refers to the impact. on curriculum, teaching practice, and learning behavior. Okay, I'll give you an example. For example, UN, or as we know as Ujian Nasional, has impacts to the teachers and to the students. There are two kinds of impacts. The first one is the positive impacts, and then the second one is negative impacts. Okay, the first one, the positive impacts of UN or Ujian Nasional. The first one is students will be focused and will be seriously on studying. They will be study hard and they will be prepared for the Ujian Nasional, so they will know that whether they will fail or they will pass the test. And then the negative impacts on the students can feel anxiety, feel fatigue, feel depressed, stressed, because they will know that whether they can pass or they can fail. And the next one is the positive impact for the teachers. Teachers can be focused teaching on the subjects that is related to the Ujian Nasional itself. And the negative impacts to the teachers is teachers will only be focused on the subjects that is related to the Ujian Nasional itself. So I believe that there will be two sides of the coin. It will be negative side and positive side. And I think that's all, and thank you.
Okay, thank you guys for watching.